Māori Television's Native Affairs story on West Papua goes to air tonight. They sent the first New Zealand television crew allowed into the region in 50 years. Given Indonesia's strict policy on allowing access to foreign journalists, producer and crew member Adrian Stevanon says their trip is a sign of change.
I think the achievement is that we are able to build some sort of awareness here. That's the real achievement, I think. When you are able to see the pictures in television, you kind of get a greater sense of a place, and that's what we're able to contribute with our story.
Having applied to go to West Papua for the last 3 years, Adrian took an interest in a region that many don't know about.
With so much that's been reported, right, even from a region where you can't really report freely, I thought it was important to try and go and have a look for myself, and Native Affairs prides itself on telling stories that you won't find anywhere else, and so that's one of the reasons that I was really keen to see if we can get into the region.
And although Indonesia's President Joko Widodo has said he wants the region to be open, the process for journalists to get access takes time.
We spent a lot of time getting support letters from New Zealand Embassy, from Asian New Zealand Foundation, from other places in Indonesia that were going to support all Papua, that were going to support our trip, and that spent a lot of time was spent on that. The embassy and it appears to me that Jakarta really want to know what you're doing, who you're going to be seeing, and trying to track each moment, and including asking you to send you their flight details. Because this is new, there is still a level of adjustment, so you don't want to attract, too much attention to yourself. So I shot it myself, and we've taken Karen, Abplanalp, who's, got great, contacts in the region, and that was our team.
Karen, journalist and photographer, wrote an award-winning piece in 2012 on New Zealand's involvement in the Freeport mine, and decided to do her master's thesis on the media restrictions in West Papua. She says for her first time there, she didn't know what to expect.
Well, for me, the primary concern was, we had no idea what it was going to be like to be foreign journalists there. And you don't know what the reception is going to be like to you. Because of the reports of people being watched and followed. The first wee while, in fact, nearly all of the time, you were checking to see who was watching and whether or not you were going to get stopped.
But even though they were being watched, Adrian and Karen say they didn't feel unsafe at all.
Obviously, for me, it was clear that there's not too many cameras that are pulled out there, and so we were being watched by intelligence officers and things like that. That's not to say that there's anything untoward about that. They're doing their jobs, but it's just an element that I'm not used to in the Pacific. Did I ever feel like we were in danger? No. Okay. But then, did we ever really step outside the bounds of what we said we were going to do? No.
While in Papua, they worked alongside one of West Papua's foremost journalists, Victor Mambor.
Victor's a great guy, and I felt like we were in safe hands. He has been reporting in his region for a long, long time, and I just felt like he's a lovely guy, and he's got a huge heart for his people, and he's got a huge heart for telling the truth.
Adrian wants audiences to be educated about a people who may otherwise be unfamiliar.
I don't want to sensationalise what's happening there, but you do want to raise awareness to some of the issues that are happening there. And then you just want to leave people with the real taste of what some of the people are like, and tell some human stories.
Both Adrian and I we took this opportunity, we worked really hard to get there. We sort of really took it seriously about how we were going to be, how we were going to behave. We didn't want to put anyone in danger, yet we wanted to be able to tell a story.
Leading New Zealand journalist Paul Bensemann has covered the region for years and praises Native Affairs, but says more needs to be done.
I salute Native Affairs and Maori TV for the effort they took to get a visa. It wasn't easy, and for being able to interview Papuan people, an amazing achievement. So it's a step forward, but it's not a step forward in the political area. The political discussion has not yet taken place on an open basis with foreign journalists in Papua.
And in terms of getting coverage of the region, Paul says the key is in getting people to care.
I still don't believe that most people in New Zealand even have any idea where West Papua is. That's the biggest issue. It's a catch-22 situation. We, as journalists, have to find New Zealand angles, and that's what I did. I concentrated on just one angle, and that was the fact that our government had committed something like $6 million for a police training, training Indonesian police in West Papua.
With more foreign journalists set to go to West Papua, more discussion could open up.
The next big question is whether we can send journalists in there and they can discuss the political situation on an open basis, and I have my doubts.
Even though this announcement's been made, not everybody's happy about it. Some people want people to be able to get in, and some are really nervous about it. So, or don't want them in, don't want the foreign journalists in. So it'll be interesting to see how it plays out.
We've been allowed in. There's been a few Australian journalists that have been allowed in. You know, we've got a Radio New Zealand journalist who's about to go in. I think that there are good signs that that's going to happen. And then when more people are allowed in and there's open access, then we're open to a wonderful array of stories to be told.
The story will air on Māori television tonight at 8:30. Alistar Kata for Pacific Media Watch.